All right.
Hey,
Good afternoon, everybody. Jason Lynn here, and on behalf of the Fort Worth Community Arts Center, we would like to welcome you to another edition of our Boxed Lunch episodes. We are so excited today to have another author from our original works submissions coming soon in some form or fashion as we continue to deal with this wonderful COVID-19 pandemic. So we are so excited to welcome today author of the original work submission Couples Night, the one and only Pete Bakley. How you doing today, Pete?
I'm doing great. It's a cold, snowy day here in Kansas City, and it is. And the temperature's going to drop even more. We've got the Super Bowl coming this Sunday, of course, which will be a lot of fun. And yeah, you guys aren't in that this year.
No, the Cowboys fell a little short.
Yeah. Well, we've got this miracle quarterback for the first time ever in my entire life. Since like Len Dawson, we had a guy who really knows the game, and it's been fun. It's been nice being winners because we've been losers for a long time.
So you don't consider Joe Montana to be a superstar quarterback?
I do, but not when he was with us. He was past his prime when he got there. He was such a sweetie too.
Fair
But
enough.
that last game where we were playing and then he was sitting on the sideline like he's got the big floppy hat on and the brain has just been damaged beyond working again, and that was sad. But yeah, other than that, no, we have not had a great quarterback. We've had great ends, we've had great defensive people, but not quarterbacking.
Well, you certainly have one now, and
Yes.
congratulations to all you folks up there, and especially being the first team to play and host the Super Bowl. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, no, we are not hosting the Super Bowl. It's in Tampa Bay.
Oh, that's right. You guys get out of the cold and go down and
Yeah.
take what
I
some
go to
might
the
say
humidity.
is the greatest of all time. So I don't want to
Yeah.
talk too much about him, but
Yeah.
I guarantee he'll at least give you a game, I hope.
Well, I consider Boston to be my second hometown, and because we spent when I was a kid, we had a house in Massachusetts that I spent summers at. So it is, but you know, that guy is. I'm not rooting for him. No.
All right, Pete.
Okay.
Before we delve into all the fun stuff about our box lunch interview, do you mind just taking a minute and introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
All right. My name is Pete Bakley. I mean, officially, I'm retired. But I am a working playwright, so I'm not retired from that. I have. I'm currently the Kansas City ambassador for the Dramatist Guild, and I work with that group, that national group, with things in our area. We have 35 members of the guild playwrights in Kansas City,
Wow.
and many more who aren't members of the guild. So we have a very strong playwriting scene up here right at the moment. And we've got, but mostly, I'm writing and trying to get theater going here in Kansas City. And I've got uh, masters in playwriting from University of Missouri, Kansas City. And I'm trying to think of anything else. A couple of my plays to be done around the country, and I've had about 6 or 7 productions of my plays in Kansas City. Not the one, not the one you're doing. Oddly enough, I have some stories about that.
Yes, we'll get to all of that. Trust me.
Yeah, but yeah, that's me pretty much. I'm at home today with my cats and my younger son, and I've been playing video games for a lot of the morning. So, uh,
Nice.
Elder Scrolls Online is what I'm at on.
Very
doing
nice.
right now.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job of getting things going up there, and we're very excited to have you as well. So, What is on your lunch menu today, Pete?
Well, I have crock-potted it's behind me there, crock-potted a bowl of split pea soup, split and ham soup. Had a big old chunk of ham I had in the freezer, and a bag of split peas, water, add some carrots, onions, a little bit, and potatoes, and it's a great soup. And
Wow,
this
very
my yeah,
nice.
I do the cooking in the house. Since I'm here all the time, that's basically my job. And because I'm not good at the cleaning, and but I but this is the meal for today, and since it's getting cold, it's going to be great.
Wow, very exciting, very exciting. Fresh homemade split pea soup. I'm impressed. I'm
You
doing
bet.
I'm doing another heat and repeat today. So I'm going
What do you
with
got?
one of my famous campfire recipes today, Dinty Moore bread bowls. So so what I do is just take a can of Dinty Moore, set the can
Yeah,
on the campfire, and then cut the top off of a nice little roll or a piece of
yeah,
bread, and then just pour it in whenever it gets hot. So some of you may notice I've got a little different background today. I'm
yeah.
actually at a campsite in my Airstream, but it's a little windy outside, so I brought the Dinty Moore inside, and I am just warming that up there right on the range. And I have my bread bowl right here ready to go as well. So we'll heat that up, do our little interview, and then we'll show off each other's presentation as we wrap things up today. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. So, Pete, we are again so excited to have you. And I was very curious if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit. How has your playwriting been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I'll be honest about it, and this is the thing is that you think that you have all this time, you're going to sit in the house, I can just sit down and write, but what really sparks me to write is doing theater and being around. Somebody once asked me, what's the best way to get your writing going, and it's get drunk with actors, and because I mean, a lot of my early plays were just, we'd be sitting at a bar with some actor friends of mine, and I come from an acting background, and I'd start thinking they would be really good as something like this. This would be, and start thinking about what where I could put them, and then an idea forms. Now, the other thing too is that a lot of times after those things, you come back refreshed and you sit down and you want to write. I've been working on a play right now for a couple of actresses I know called Bath, and it's about I'm updating the Elizabeth Bathory story to
Oh, wow.
yeah, to a modern model and her handler, manager, makeup artist, and the two of them figuring out that she can look younger with blood, and it's actually a kind of a political work because it's about people who have money and power feeling that they are, they need to do whatever they need to do to keep that, and that they deserve it, and that's but I have, I'll sit down and write about a page every week, and yeah, it's not coming quickly. I go, I need to sit down and do this, and I keep pushing it off. I'm about done with Act One on it.
Nice. Well, that
Yeah.
is certainly a exciting topic, and your submission this year also is a little bold, I have to say. I've read a lot of plays in my life, and I was certainly very excited to see what I consider is a topic that is not necessarily dealt with a lot in a live theatrical setting. So, not to give too many spoilers away, but I was curious if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about this particular submission that you submitted to the original work series this year.
Well, this was early on, and I had already written a play called Skillet Tag, which had a lot of violence in it. It was about a corporate team building retreat that ends up with a lot of bodies stacking up because they're hitting each other with large metal pans, and people were going, but they were a little shocked by it. And then I was just going, well, that's nothing. And I had an actress I was working with, and we were talking about just she was well just finding sadist humor a little bit funny. And so I wrote this thing. I put it together, uh, and I couldn't begin to explain where it came from. I mean, but then again, any play is like that. But I put it together, and we had the first reading in class. And I kept going, I can't get away with this. Oh well, I'll just try it. I can't get away with this. Oh, I'll just try it. And then pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And we had a reading of the first act, and there's four characters in it. And I had one actress, the playwrights are reading them, and I had one actress playing mother, and one reading the stage directions, and then Honey Bun, Dickie, and George and Dad. And as we're doing the play, they're laughing, and they're laughing harder and harder, except for the woman playing mother. And she's sitting next to me, and at just one point she whispers, she goes, I've got to leave. And I figure, oh, she has to go to the bathroom. And she dashed out of the room. And she didn't come back. And she didn't come back. And the lady reading the stage directions took over that part. She didn't come back and didn't come back. And finally, at the end of the reading, everyone's laughing and laughing. And the actress playing Honey Bunch goes, that is the most fucked up thing I've ever read. And at that point, the woman who'd been playing Mother came in, her eyes were like, and she dashed and grabbed her stuff and ran out of the room. And what happened was, I found out later, she'd had a panic attack from reading it. So everyone else laughed. And then this woman just went, oh, she just couldn't handle it.
Wow.
And she was not a shy type. She'd been in the military, and she's still a friend of mine, thank God. But and a very good playwright. But she just she couldn't do it. So
Yeah, I have to say, from the get-go, I was a little taken aback by this. Now, well, I'm curious because I hear you say, people were laughing. I myself got a little bit of a 70s grindhouse feel from the script itself. I'm curious, as the author, I found a lot of things to be quite funny and certainly a little bit of dark humor. Um, is that how it's intended, or
absolutely. And as a matter of fact, if you don't play it as a comedy, it is going to come off much worse than it will. The thing is that what I was trying to do is get people to laugh at it and really laugh at it, and then realize what they were laughing at.
yes,
And that's the best part. I mean, it gets serious in Act Two, but still, their horrifying attitudes, and the fact that I wanted also to make them human. That's another thing. The people with serial killers just see them as monsters, and they are monsters, but they're human. This is what we can be if we are left to our own devices.
yeah,
And yeah,
again, I don't want to give too many spoilers away. There was a little bit of a little resonance of Albie's Virginia Woolf almost in terms of
well,
and that's already an absurdist type play, but I
well,
really did get a sense of these heightened games, I'll say, in terms of people's true intent and what some of those experiences lead them to. So, was any of that in your peripheral? I
well,
noticed some mirroring of names and references also that kind of brought that to mind.
At one point, I even point out that mom and dad's real names are George and Martha. Yes, I absolutely did that. When Honey Bunch was a great name, and then I thought, well, Nikki was the name, and then I just decided I was going to do it, and that's kind of what I was going for. Is that Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf worst tea party ever feel?
Oh my God! Yes. Yeah, I got to be honest. I thought that George and Martha were quite a couple, but
Yeah.
you've outdone yourself in topping their level of evening games. I'll just say, and leave it at that. So I can't wait for people to experience this now. How old is this script? I know just from reading it that I'm assuming it's probably not as easy to get onto a theater season. Where did this script originate? How long have you been working on this particular piece?
It's about 10 years old. I started on it when I was taking my master's program, and that was let's see, 2012. So it's we're getting on 10 years with it. It was one of the last things I written for class. My instructor liked it and said that I should not try to produce it. It would ruin my career. Uh, it's okay. I've done other things now. That's the career I have. But I found a producer, someone who wanted to produce my plays. The first play she had discovered was Couples Night, and she had loved it. And she said, I want to do stuff like that. But we started with Skillet Tag instead. And then we started getting it together, finding directors and cast. And we could not get a director who would touch it. I mean, the guy who did Skillet Tag says, "Oh no, I'm not going to direct this." Uh, and he and we looked at different people, and I knew some of them weren't gonna, but we kept trying to put it out there, and people were like yes and no on it. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is good. I think it's uh, I once described it as I think it's the best play I've written, and it's also torture porn." So
Now, Pete, I'm curious. I know that some of these levels of content uh, and violence, it's really not seen very often on the stage. I know that film itself has a lot of that kind of genre, I guess.
yeah,
And the closest thing that I can think of in terms of a live presentation that may come close to this is some of Tracy Lett's work. I think
yes,
specifically about Bug and obviously
killer,
Killer Joe.
yeah.
Um, why did you feel a necessity to put this in a theatrical setting as opposed to, say, a screenplay or a movie or something along those lines? What really pushed and inspired you to stage this as a live theater piece?
Well, first off, that's what I was writing at the time, and again, you're right. It's done a lot in films. So and the thing is that, but it's so rarely done on stage, and there is kind of a need in Kansas City and around the country to wake people up, and this is
This'll do it.
this is yeah, usually when they you do something even horror, people want to do stuff like Dracula. It's less horror and more camp.
Yes.
And this is definitely a film type script, but it's on stage, and I think it adds something. It's that you're in the room with these people,
Woo.
that they're they are right there, and so that's the thing. By the way, there's a few others that have done it. I can't think of her name. wrote a play called Blasted, which is rather horrific. Sarah Kane, I think her name is. She committed suicide.
Oh wow, really?
Yes, well, but if you want to talk about one that's been doing that forever and is still working and went into movies, Martin McDonough
Oh yeah. Yep.
God, blanking on the names of some of the Lieutenant of Inishmore is one of the, and it is insanely violent and awful and funny, really
Yes.
really funny.
You
And
know,
so
and I gotta be honest, that's one of the things that I really, really did enjoy about this particular script. And yes, there are some horrific things and some horrific qualities in a lot of the people. I found the relationships to be really, really interesting. And I think, again, at the core of any story, if those people have some qualities that you can relate to, be them light or dark, it really does pull you into that piece. And I have to say, I was uh, I was really impressed at the balance, and there was a lot of heart in the relationships, even despite the situations that these people find themselves in. So hats off in being able to balance that out with um, all of that in the script. I can't even tell. I just can't wait till people hear it, and I'm really interested to hear what some of those responses are.
well, one of the things is that I was hoping for when I was writing it, and it has turned out to be true with almost everyone who's read it, is most people fall in love with Mother, and that is one of my favorite characters that I've ever uh, written. She's fun, and I kept having more and more fun writing her. And you gotta start liking her. Then it just and then it makes it more fun to have her do more horrific things.
Yeah. So Pete, I'm curious. Were any of these characters based on real people that you know, or were these totally
Oh
fictional
God, no.
uh,
Yeah.
people that just lived in your head for a little bit and needed a place to have a very twisted dinner party?
Well, it was again. It was different people I thought could play it, and that's part of it. But nobody I know, thank God, is like that. Yeah, I wouldn't be here. I mean, they'd have killed me long ago. I made two rules for the world. One, no cops. They're not worried about, although it does come up a little bit, but there's never any point in the play where you think they might get arrested.
Right.
And the second was don't explain me. Don't don't give any backstory on these people that make you think that explains away why they do this. There is no explanation, and so
Yeah. It's the ambiguity of how everything plays out again is just, I think it just adds to the tension and the twining of this whole entire evening. And it's just honestly a really, really powerful piece. And I just can't say it enough. I was really really encouraged to see a different type of storytelling in a theatrical format. So hats off to you on that one. And again, I just can't wait to see how people respond to it. All right, folks, we're back with you. We dropped off there for a second, but we got Pete back. Pete, we were talking about how much we personally enjoyed this script. Um, what do you anticipate the audience's response to be, and what are you hoping the audience's response will be?
well, this is the deal. Uh, this is a play I've had numerous readings of because we attempted to get this going a number of times, but it's one of those where the audience reaction was always much better than what people said that they thought the audience interaction was going to be, because you're doing it in front of theater professionals, and they would laugh and laugh and laugh, and then they go, and even sometimes they're not theater professionals, and and they're doing different things and enjoying the show, and but getting disturbed, and then they say, I don't think regular audiences are going to like this at all. I think they are. I mean, a couple of my plays, people said, no, regular audiences just are not going to like this, and they've gone over well. So I hope that's what happens here. This one pushes it as far, I think, as I've ever gone. So,
I find it so interesting that you say those sort of things, and it's been shown throughout history, and I think particularly of authors like Bertolt Brecht, who people just they didn't even have a clue
yeah,
how to deal with that material. Even Albee and Virginia Woolf was really just whoop out
yeah,
there. I think about uh, John Osborne, Look Back in Anger, and these shows have been around. I'll reference Tracy Letts again, and he just blew people's minds open. And here, I think he ended up getting, Pulitzer Prize for drama. So I
right,
think you're on the right path, and I can't wait again just to see uh, how people receive this sort of thing in more of a public setting. I know that artists always uh, have that ability, I guess, to uh, really lean into things in the artistic process. And I'm certainly hoping that some of the public is willing to do that as well, because if you let yourself go for the ride, it is quite an evening for sure. So
well, I mean, one of the things that I find with new playwrights, and I want to make it clear, I'm not dishing on anyone. I'm not saying anything particularly bad, but people who are brand new to it, the cardinal sin is writing the obvious thing.
yes.
And you get a lot of people that will do that. I'm going to write this play, and 20 other people have already written this play.
Yeah.
And yes, it's important to you, and definitely the passion there, I can see it, but the audience needs to see something new, and that's a big part of it. That's where you get new audiences, and then getting past the theater mindset of, well, the audiences, they're never going to like this. We have to play to who the people are. I took a theater business class, and they were talking about getting audience members, and the suggestion of the marketing department, was try to get the mailing lists for all the other theaters and ask those people if they'd like to come see yours. And I'm going, I want people who aren't going to the other theaters. Right? I mean, I don't mind them. I like some of them, but I don't want. And the other thing too is, they said, oh, you can't get teenagers to come see theater. You can't get just a lot of different. You can't get people to come see theater, and they do. They love it if they know it's there, and if
Yeah.
they know that it's got something for them. So,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think it's imperative to bring in new blood, no pun intended, to sit in those seats. And I think that we have enough productions of some of the staples, and so I personally believe that there's some uh, great value to getting some new playwrights material out there. And so I'm just very thankful that you jumped off that ledge and submitted the show, and certainly just chomping at the bit to hear it out loud. So,
well,
Pete,
yeah.
I'm curious, as a playwright, has has the pandemic and the last year helped or hurt your writing process?
Well, it's hurt my writing process. I mean, like I said, I need to get out there and do stuff. I've always been a writer. I came from an acting background, uh, and I still act periodically. I do. I do things. One of the things that while we've been talking, uh, there's been a conversation from a friend of mine who's been trying to get his script that I'm casting on for the past 2 years, and they keep canceling the Fringe Festival up here. And he wants, he doesn't want to do that. It's but it's getting out, talking to people, doing theater, seeing other people's theater, talking to each other, and and that's where the ideas come from, and that's where the stuff to do new theater. So when you get together and you go, well, let's do this. And as a writer, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to throw something out there and maybe somebody will pick it up and read it and like it. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. And even if I don't always get to do this, it's still good. And then, I mean, even the ones that haven't been, there's a few that I've said, I don't want anybody to do this. Then, as you see couples nights, so you got to imagine what those are like. No, they're not worse. They're just dull. They're. I'm just going. I didn't hit it. I didn't get it. They're just, and so the thing is that it's got to be done to do theater. With no theater around, it's harder to write.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
So,
this is
so Pete,
yeah.
so how do you see art, and I'll just say theater in general? How do you see this particular format continuing to adapt? I know that we've seen a lot of virtual online presentations, and there's been a lot of debate, if you will, in regards to is theater theater unless an audience is in there? How do you see us adapting and continuing to move forward through all of this?
Zooming is fine. It's but really, it's not theater unless there's an audience. I'm of that pool. Because first off, even with the readings, I learn more from how people react to the play than I learn from what they say about the play. I do learn from what they say about the play when you get talkbacks and stuff like that. And occasionally, people have said something that's worthwhile. But for the most part, it's listening to them and seeing, okay, that works, that didn't work, they didn't get that, that didn't, My last play, there was a moment when just I made a truly offensive statement, and the air sucked out of the room, and I'm just sitting there holding for the next line, which is a laugh line.
Uh,
And I'm just waiting, and it got a laugh, and I went, "Oh, thank God!" Otherwise, they were going to kill me.
so,
And so, yeah,
so Pete, I ask this of a lot of authors because I'm always curious. Um, when you hear your play for the first time out loud, outside of your own head and off the page,
yeah.
does it match, or do you find that you're hearing it uh, differently than you're intending? And I know that different actors make different choices and things like that, but I would think that there would still be a an echo or a resonance if the story is true. And so how do you as an author interpret that first read? Do you find it matches, or are you like, oh my goodness, I'm back to the draw?
Well, and that's the point. It's not like I haven't done that. I've had one where one of my plays, I written the first act, I listened to it, and I said, this doesn't work at all. But for the most part, what I'm going for is, did it sound outside like it sounded in my head? And if it's close, I mean, notwithstanding, I want the actors there. Actors bring uh, a new development to the playwriting. I mean, actors interpret it. Actors understand things. Actors can do funny things that I hadn't thought of, and that so uh, that's part of it. But yes, I want it, and a lot of times it does. I said, okay, that did what I thought it was. That did what I thought it was going to do. And a lot of, okay, that got a laugh. That got a laugh. That did not get a laugh. That got a weak laugh. And that's that got a polite laugh. That's not what you want to hear. Polite applause is the sound of failure.
um, I'm so curious about individuals' writing process, and I know everybody goes about it a little different way. For you personally, is it harder for you to write the the dialogue or the situations? Or do they go hand in hand and one creates the other for you?
That's exactly it. I have to think about what they're saying and what they're doing. And that's another thing too that drives me crazy. People say, "Oh, I just get rid of all the stage instructions," and I'm like, "Okay, my stage instructions are telling you what they're doing at that moment. It's not like I'm not giving you blocking. I'm giving you, the what the actual physical action this person's supposed to be doing, and it's important to what they're saying." And I don't like writing emotions in either. I don't like that, sadly,
I did notice that. I did.
uh, that's their job. They got to figure out, because sometimes they figure out a different way to do it.
Yeah, sure. And so, whenever you're writing,
And yeah, and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, are you there?
Stop.
No. It's just yeah. It's so when I'm writing it all at the same time. I mean, it's dialogue. It's and I'm going from moment to moment to moment to moment to build the scene, and then I got a scene done, and then you go moment to moment to moment to build another scene. I write from start to end almost always. I never, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Do your
Go ahead.
stories come to you as a complete picture, or is it an idea that then threads you down this rabbit hole of structure?
Mostly, it's the second. Mostly, I know I have characters are first. Absolutely, characters and what's going on, and a lot of times I have an idea where they're going. I mean, sometimes I say writing, and it's got to be in my head. I don't outline.
Right.
I got to be able to hold the whole equation in there in order for it to go. But I go, it's like following a map. You're going to this town, then this town, to this town, to this town, and sometimes you find out you don't want to go to that town, and you go. That's reaching you off a different direction. On the other hand, I do love those times when I say the play drops into my head fully formed. I know exactly everything that's going to happen. Does not happen nearly enough, and it's a gift. And if you get that, you need to write it right away.
Wow.
Yeah,
God,
but
yeah,
yeah,
it's just so interesting. I love the way people come up with these stories and characters, and I just can't say it enough. Keep it up and keep them coming. So Pete, in the midst of this pandemic and with all of the struggles that have been going on with people in the arts community, I'm curious, what helpful community resources might you be seeing or using personally? And how can playwrights be assisted or provide assistance to other artists or organizations?
I'm going to say it, and it's got to. Social media is huge, and it has always been since I've been starting writing. Is people will float things out there. We have community groups, and I have two playwright support uh, uh, websites or Facebook pages, one for the guild and one for everybody, and so that's one of the resources. But but mostly it's just people talking about I'm trying to do this. I'd like to do this. A videographer who I don't know contacted me, probably just wants business, and that's fair enough. But just out of nowhere on social media, I do have the Dramatist Guild site. We have groups of, I mean, you're always going to have groups of artist friends who you need to have a group of people you trust that you can go to and say, look, this is what I'm working on now. I need to pick your brain on it. I need to do this. My last production company was called Playwrights Co-op, and basically there were four of us who wanted to produce for Fringe Festival. We all got in the same theater. Everybody produced their own work, but they were there if you needed something that you couldn't do. And which is good because sometimes the producer's job and the playwright's job are diametrically opposed.
Oh, yes.
And so, sometimes you have to have them, did you talk to blah, blah, blah and see if they could for me, or just finding I need a design, or finding designers, finding actors, finding different things for each other, because we had different levels of skill. In that I've been around forever, so I know everybody in town, and then a few others are real good at that. So I had one guy who was producing for the first time. He goes, "How do I get this?" And I got him. We got him, not I. I mean, he did it himself, but we got him a great cast. So they were, all of those people have gone on to do other stuff. Nobody knew who they were when they started, pretty much. So that's good. Yeah, that's another thing too, is that these plays that we're doing, but yeah, it is that resources use each other. Um, I will say, no, I lost it. Sorry. Go ahead.
No worries, no worries.
I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just find it very humorous that you say that. They say castings at minimum 50% of the struggle.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's amazing what some great talent can do to really bring those words and situations off that page. So we'll have some good ones as well, and I can't wait to see what they do with the materials. So
People ask, someone asked me, says, what point do you consider casting? I said, before I type the first word. and very often I have specific people in mind, and very often I don't get those specific people.
Right.
But because I had them, developed it for their skills, and the characters are better. They're more human. They come out of that way. Sometimes not, though. Sometimes they're just a vague idea of a person in my mind, and they work out good too. So,
well, I don't think there's anything vague at all about this particular script. I think it's pretty obvious what's going on there. So Pete, now this is probably the most important question I'm going to ask you today. How and where can people find you and keep up with all of the great stuff that you've got going on personally as a playwright?
The thing is that friend me on Facebook. My name is spelled PETERBAKELY. And once we have that, if you're interested in different things, I can get you hooked up to several of the pages that we have going for like local playwrights, and keep you apprised of events for me and Kansas City people as well.
Awesome. Well, Pete, I can't thank you enough for taking the time today. Are you ready for
Yes.
All right. Now we got to be careful with the soups, because I've only dropped 2 on my computer. So here we go with the bread bowl. I put a little cheese on there. Oh, okay. My goodness.
Then there's the soup.
Delicious. Well done. And Pete, any words of wisdom for anybody out there, or any words of warning, I guess, with the script?
Don't bring your kids. That's something I always say.
Fair enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up another episode of Box Lunch. Pete, thank you so much. Stay tuned to check out Pete's script, Couples Night, coming at you this upcoming Thursday. Make sure you follow the Art Center page for more interviews, and we got some great stories to tell with this year's original work program. So that does it from here, folks. We'll be back next Monday with another episode. Bon appetit, everybody. Stay safe out there. Pete, take care. Stay warm. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.